Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the recent events that occurred in Indiana. Now, I'm very sure that you should all be very well aware of what I am talking about today, but we're talking about the Good Samaritan, the good guy with a gun, the law-abiding gun owner. We're also going to be talking about some of the responses from the anti-gun side regarding this event, and we're going to be talking about whether or not it might be time to abandon the term law-abiding gun owner or law-abiding citizen, any sort of similar phrase to that, and whether or not you should evaluate whether or not you should look at laws and determine what you do and don't follow. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. Before we get going, though, I do want to say thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Premier Body Armor. If you are looking for a simple way to get body armor to work in your everyday carry, these panels, soft, lightweight, level 3A body armor. They also sell hard plates that will stop rifle rounds, but these are a very easy way to incorporate body armor into your day-to-day life. If you carry a backpack like I do, it's very easy to work with the systems that you already got. Very light, don't even notice that it's there, completely forget about it, but it's passive protection in areas that you might not be able to bring a gun for whatever reason, or just to supplement your current everyday carry. Links are always in the description of my videos. Thank you to Premier Body Armor. Now, with this whole event in Indiana, something to keep in mind is that initially it was being reported as if the signs that said no firearms as per the policy of the mall, people were saying that that was illegal. Now, specifically, we had people like Shannon Watts implying, the former Moms Demand Action. She was implying heavily that she thought that what they did was illegal and it was a bad thing that this person chose to stop the threat. And I think that's going to be something we're going to see repeatedly. People are going to try to imply that because it was against the policy, again, reiterating, it was not illegal, just against the policy, that makes you a bad person. Now, what if it was illegal? If it was illegal for this person who stopped the threat from carrying that firearm, would they still be a law-abiding gun owner? And even if they weren't a law-abiding gun owner, sorry for the Italian sign language, if they weren't a law-abiding gun owner, would that make them a bad person by default? And that's really what made me sort of start thinking again. This is something I've been thinking about a lot, but I think it might be time to move away from this term law-abiding gun owner. There has to be something better. I would love to hear if you have a better solution, a better phrase to refer to good people who wish to be armed to protect themselves and potentially others. The term law-abiding gun owner implies that you follow laws that are unjust, and throughout history, there have been many instances where the laws in place have been unjust and specifically targeting good people. So, should you be a law-abiding gun owner? And even when you are, it seems as if people want to phrase you as the bad person, even if you do an objectively good thing, like stop a mass shooting. Keep in mind, many states do have laws regarding signage and whether or not that makes it legal or illegal for you to carry a gun, even if you have a CCW permit, even if you live in a constitutional carry state. Some states do have signage that carries force of law. Now, if you're in the state of California, something to be aware of is this. You get your CCW permit from your issuing agency, typically the county sheriff. There is no state law that says signs that say no guns make it illegal for you to be there on just a normal business. However, if someone sees that you're carrying a gun and says, hey, you need to leave, and you don't, that would be trespassing. That would be illegal. Now, some issuing agencies in the state of California specifically can put requirements saying that if a sign is on the door that says no guns allowed, that your permit is invalid unless you have permission to carry a gun in there. Many counties don't have those requirements. For example, my county, Sonoma County, they say that the signs do not hold force of law, but they previously did. In the last few years, that's changed due to influence from other very influential people that have sort of adapted to get changes made in the policies. So keep that in mind, not everywhere, including in Indiana, where they do have constitutional carry. This person did not break the law. They just broke the mall's code of conduct and carried a gun where they weren't supposed to. Does that make them a bad person? Even if it was illegal and they were not a law-abiding gun owner, would that be a bad thing? Again, from the Twitter hellscape, we have user Funtastic saying, Good Samaritan is the worst possible way to identify another person who took a loaded firearm into a business that forbade it. These people think that you having and using your means of protection to save the lives of countless others, they think you're a bad person. You are not a good Samaritan because you saved everybody's life. You're actually a bad person. You're just as bad as the guy who brought the gun in to go commit that mass murder, essentially. In even more verbal diarrhea, someone said, imagine if the Good Samaritan had missed and injured someone. Adding more bullets in the air only makes the situation even more dangerous. To which they agreed, saying exactly, imagine if they just didn't stop them at all. Imagine if that Good Samaritan, because apparently they're not a Good Samaritan, imagine if that person wasn't there. And then we waited hours and hours for the police to show up and arrive like in Uvalde. Is it actually a bad thing that someone was almost immediately able to stop this person? Apparently it is. You're a bad person because you carried a gun there when it was forbidden. Now keep in mind, this is an actual win for constitutional carry law because in Indiana, they recently signed into law constitutional carry, meaning that if you can legally own a gun in the state of Indiana, you can legally carry a gun in the state of Indiana. This person did not have a permit. This person was not a CCW holder. This was just a person who was legally allowed to own a gun, They had the right, have the right to own and carry a gun, to keep and bear arms, and they used that right that is inherent to them, acknowledged by the Second Amendment, to save the lives of themselves and countless others. Now, we also got to talk about how the anti-gun side is trying to spin this as a myth, claiming that the good guy with a gun is a myth perpetuated by the gun lobby. They went on to say that there have been multiple studies showing that this is a myth, even though we have multiple instances from the last month across the nation of a good guy with a gun literally stopping threats, literally saving the day. I'm very sorry for all the air quotes. It just has to happen. I'm sorry. It's just who I am as a person. You can show someone dozens of instances over the last year, especially if you look at states like, or if you look at areas like Philadelphia, where the increase in CCW permits has led to an increase in justifiable homicides, where there would have just been victims. The victims were able to defend themselves because they were the good guy with a gun. But that's a myth. It doesn't exist. It never happened. You can show people dozens and dozens of instances of literally a good guy with a gun stopping the bad person who's meaning to do them harm, and they will say that it doesn't exist and that it's a myth. It's perpetuated by the gun lobby, like you and me. We are the gun lobby, apparently. Commentators, gun rights organizations that promote the safe shooting and safe ownership of firearms. We're just making it up. It's all a myth. It never happened. It doesn't exist. The good guy with the gun does not exist. Let me know what you guys think down below. If you have any suggestions for a better term other than law-abiding gun owner, I would love to hear it. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace.